Hello designers, and welcome back to the Fusion 360 Explained by Akil course. In today's video, we'll be taking a look at all the modify tools you'll ever need to start designing. So let's start working on that. Okay guys, by now everyone should know the three main steps designing a 3D model has. First, we create the two-dimensional sketch. Then we use the create tools to make the sketch come to life. And lastly, we modify it. Now, in previous videos, I have already explained the sketch features and the create tools. So, in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the modify tools. Now, as in the create video, I have created a document with lots of examples for each one of the tools. So, let's start seeing them one by one. Firstly, we have the shell, fillet and chamfer command. Now, these are three different tools, but I'll use the same box as an example. Firstly, we have the shell tool. Now, this tool allows us to create a cavity in as many faces as we want to. To use it, go to modify and then click on the shell option. Now, first it asks us for the faces we want the shell to be placed on. Now in this case I will use this one, but you can even choose 2, 3, as much as you like. Then it asks us if we want the shell to be in the inside or the outside. Now what this stands for is that when it's in the inside, as you can see, the hole is placed in the inside and the box doesn't expand to create the walls. However, if we choose the outside option, we can see how the hole is the whole face and the walls expand. Now you can even choose both of them at the same time, but in this case I will just use the inside one. It also asks us for the thickness. This is the amount of thickness our walls will have. In this case I will choose 8, but you can do whatever you want to. Click on OK to finish the shell, and just like that your shell will be made. Now next up we have two tools that are used to smooth out the edges, the fillet and the chamfer tool. Let's start with the fillet. Now we have already seen this tool in multiple videos, but I will explain it again. Basically, to create a fillet, you need to choose an edge you want the fillet to be placed on, for example this one. You can choose as many as you like to, and then a measure. Now in this case I will take a 2mm fillet, but you can choose as much as you want to. Now as you guys can see, if now I click enter, the fillet is made and the edge is much more smooth than before. Now the chamfer does a similar thing. Basically what it does is that instead of making it smooth by rounding it, it sort of cuts it in the middle. So again, choose the edge you want the chamfer to be on, let's say this one, and a measurement, for example 5. Now again, the edge is much more smooth than before, but this time instead of being round, it is cut in half. Perfect. Now let's continue with the following tool. Now the next tool is the draft tool. Basically what it does is that it creates a similar thing that the chamfer does with the edges, but instead of doing it with edges, it does it with whole bodies. To use it, go to modify and then click on draft. It will ask us for the pull direction, the faces and how many sides we want the draft to be made. Now the pull direction is the face that will constantly remain the same and will be sort of a pivot for the draft. So in this case I will choose this one. Then we need to choose the faces window we want the draft to be placed on. We can choose as many as we want to, but in this case I will choose these two. Then as you guys can see, a dotted line appears here. This is the point of intersection between the pull direction and the faces. And this point of intersection will always remain the same. So now if we start turning this wheel, we can see how the draft can be done to the inside and to the outside. Positive degrees will make a draft to the outside, and negative degrees will do it to the inside. In this case, I will choose 30 degrees. You can also choose as many sides as we want to. One side, two sides, or make it symmetric. In this case, I will choose one side. Perfect. Now click on OK to finish your draft, and as you guys can see, the draft has been made. Now next up we have the Scale tool. It is really useful when we want to change the size of anything we want to, but don't want to go back to the sketch and change the dimensions. To use it, go to Modify and then click on the Scale tool. It will ask us for the entities and a point. The entities in this case is the thing we want to scale, so this draft we made. And the point will be automatically selected. Now 1 means 100% of the object we have. So if we go up, so let's say 2, this 2 represents 200% of the object we're scaling. And if we go down, let's say 0.5, the object will be reduced to half of its size. So in this case, I want the scale factor, this is called the scale factor, to be 2, meaning we will double the size of the draft. So I will write 2 and just click enter. Just like that, we have scaled our draft. Now let's continue with the following tools. But first, let's zoom in a bit. And there we go. Okay, the next tool we will use is the Combine tool. Now, what it does is that basically it helps you combine two objects that can be in different components if you want to, and make them one. However, there is a problem with it, and we'll see it right now. So let's say we want to combine this cylinder and this square. These two tools. We can go to the Combine Cylinder component and then go to Modify and choose Combine. Now the target body is the body that will bring in the other body. So in this case I will choose the cylinder. And then the tool body is the one that will mostly be affected. So we also select it. And as you guys can see, you can choose the operation join, cut, or intersect. In this case, it will be join. You can create a new component with this new body, but in this case, I won't do that. So click on OK to finish the action. But now a problem appears. If we go to the combined square, we can see there are no bodies there. That is because that body has now combined with this new one and now are the same body. What's the problem with this? That maybe you will have trouble trying to change the parameters of the square. That's why I don't recommend using this feature, and later in the course I will show you an easier way to join two components. But I just wanted you guys to know that this tool exists, but personally I never use it. Okay, next up we have the Offset tool. What the offset face does is that basically it grabs any face on your sketch and pulls it in while giving it volume. To use it, go to Modify and then choose the Offset Face option. It will ask us for a face. In this case, I will use this one. So as you guys can see, now we can define the distance either by pulling the arrow or writing it. So as you guys can see, if we start pulling it in, we can see how the face is starting to give volume to the shape while closing in. You can also do this out by pulling it out. See? Now again, the same thing is being done, but this time in the outside. In this case, I will choose to pull it in and give it a 20mm offset. Once you've done that, click enter and as you guys can see, the offset has been done. Next up, we have the split face tools. Basically, what the split faces tool do is that they help you split bodies and faces if you want to. There are three types of them. Firstly, we have the split face tool. Now this one will divide a certain face. But first, as you guys can see, it will ask us for a splitting tool. Now this can be a plane or a sketch, but personally, I always prefer using a sketch. So let's make it. So we want to split this square right here, and we can use a spline as a splitting tool. So we'll do it here. And that is where the split will be done. Now let's make sure we can see the sketches right there. And if we go to modify and then click on split face, we can first choose the face we want to split, in this case this one, and then the splitting tool, in this case this one. Then click on OK, and as you guys can see, we have splitted the face, not the body, but the face. Next up, we also have the split body tool. Now for this one, I already chose some splitting tools. The body we will choose is this cylinder, and the splitting tool will be this one. No, sorry. I'll hide the body so that I can see the sketch. There we go, this one. And then I'll show the body again. Now, if we click on OK, we can see how this time the body has been slitted. If now we go to move, we can move this square and have a cylinder that has this sort of gap. Next up, and lastly, we have the silhouette split. This one will split a body perfectly in half. It will ask us for a view direction, which in this case is any plane we want to. So let's say this one. And the target body, so in this case, this one. Click on OK, and your body will be split exactly in half in the horizontal axis. So now we can move it as much as we want to. See? All of these tools can be really useful when we want to make two pieces that can go together and be separated. Perfect. Lastly, we have the press pull tool. Basically, what the press pull tool does is that it helps you extrude faces and do fillets quickly. So it has two main tools. Firstly, we can select a face and extrude it as much as we like to, without having to go back to the feature of the extrude and have to edit that. And then with the same tool, we can also create fillets by choosing the edges. See? Basically, what the press pull does is that it is an easy tool to use with which you can create extrudes and fillets pretty quickly. And well, designers, that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy, please remember to like and subscribe. And I hope I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, designers!